Hello everybody, welcome to the lecture on Tableau. So let's start making visualizations. Let's start with the first one. I already went ahead and actually I gave it a name. So you would have sheet 1, so I'm going to call it sale by category. What is a category? Those are the kind of products you have. So I want to show how much are my sales by each product. So I'm going to take the sales pill, the green pill, and put it on columns. If you want to go the vertical kind of chart, you can go that way. Either way is depending on your preference. Then I'm going to add a dimension, the product type category here, and when you do that, you can see there's a plus symbol right there, which means it has other subcategories or hierarchy under it, which is subcategory like that. You can do that, or you can simply click on the plus button and it will add the other subcategory. So we just created our first viz. Just like Excel or other tools, you can drag and make it a little bit bigger if you want to. You can make it entire view, and that's how it would look like. Let's add a filter to it to filter our data by states. I dropped it there, and it's showing me all these states. It's not showing me all the 50 states by default. It's showing me all these states because I have data on these states. So it's, you don't get all the states by default, but the states on which you have data. So I'll say all, or as you can say selected 49 or 49. I think in this data set they don't have data on Hawaii. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I don't see Hawaii there, so I think there's no data on that. Well, actually I don't see Alaska also. Okay, so you say apply. Okay, if you want to remove that filter, so filter is just like how you want to apply a condition to your data. And then you can say show filter, and it will come right there, and you can click on something to unclick it. Oh, you have District of Columbia there. Okay, or you can choose various kinds of format. I really like this one, quite save the space, because you can add more filters here if you want to. So you can have multiple options. So that would be our first, and I should add some color here just for example, just like that. These bars don't have any color on it, they're all standard blue, and they do have this tooltip, so it's showing you for the category, subcategory, and how much is that number. You can use all these marks to now add color, size, label, all those things to it. And before we start using those marks, let me just give you a little bit background on that. I already showed you this in part of my one of the other lectures where I talked about color. So if I ask you how many 7s are there, of course, you can tell me the answer, but what we have to judge is how much time it took you to do that, or how much cognitive effort you have to spend to find the number of 7s and how accurate you are. So whenever you are looking at any different charts, right? How do we judge a particular chart is, or histogram is better than pie chart or some other chart? Just for example, how do we come up with that based on this? How much time or effort it took you to understand the data from the chart and how accurate you were. So to make things easy for us, to reduce the time or cognitive effort it's required to understand the data, we can use color, size, orientation, texture, or tooltip to help us in looking at the data, understanding the data. So these are called pre-attentive attributes. So the purpose of these pre-attentive attributes are to direct audience attention where you want them to look, create a visual hierarchy to guide your audience, and where is the foundation? Why do we do that? So these are some examples of pre-attentive attributes. Most of the work which we do, whether in visualizations or using a technology, websites, colors, things like that, they all are grounded in some sort of behavioral science. And same thing here. In our brain, we have three kinds of memory: iconic, short-term, and long-term. With iconic memory is meant for us to quickly pick up some sort of signs from the environment and react at a very fast manner. The speed of response is very fast to iconic memory. And it is coming from our evolutionary genes. When 5, 10, 20,000 years back, humans needed to be able to pick up a predator, in a grass or in trees. And once they see a predator, a different kind of color, figure in the grass, like a lion coming or a tiger, we had to react quickly to such signs. And that's where the iconic memory comes from. And our iconic memory is fine-tuned towards a certain set of signals, pre-attentive attributes, which are like these: length, width, orientation, size, shapes, curvature, enclosure, burr. So these all are examples of pre-attentive attributes. Same thing with color, intensity, 2D position, direction of motion. So our mind have the ability to very quickly react to these sort of forms, attributes. We have to be careful when we are using pre-attentive attributes. So for example, the length has a predefined meaning for us. So long line always means we think it's more data, or it's taller, longer, or it's bigger number than a short line. So we should stay with that. But then long and short line doesn't go very well with using colors. Both these lines are of equal length, but what are we trying to show here with different colors? So you have to be careful as what kind of pre-attentive attribute you are using and how are we using them. Pre-attentive attributes are also used in text. Of course, in our examples, we are not looking at text, but yes, you can use them in text as well. So the tableaus, these marks of tableaus, are based on your iconic memory and sort of how our mind has evolved over a period of time. So that makes you understand that why a certain tool does the things in a certain way. What's the reasoning? What's a behavioral theory behind that? Okay. So coming to back to it. So these are all the pre-attentive attributes. You can drop any of these columns or rows there. So for example, if I drop sales on color like that, those are by default. I can click onto it and edit colors, diverging, sequential, whatever I want, you can choose. So to show your data, if I want to show some label of my sales, I can do this. So the labels are added, remove it. So all those things you can do. So that's our first example of our viz. Let's create the second viz, which is profit by category. So I'm going to go and say next viz. Instead of sale, I'm going to put profit, and same thing here, category, just like that. So instead of now sales, I'm showing profit. And unlike sales, you cannot have negative sales. You can have zero sales, but your profit could be negative, and that's what's happening here. And unlike this viz where you have some sort of sale, and the worst scenario would be zero, nearly negligible sale, but cannot be negative sales. In profit you do. And here the use of color becomes even more important, because we want to show this negative in a much more pronounced manner. So I'm going to take sales, drop it on color, and it's a good, so reddish, and you can see the scale is showing up here too. So this is a good way. You can even click on axis. You can change it. Let's say I'm going to make it minus 20,000, and here I'm going to make it, let's say, just to make it a little bit more better, 60,000. Okay. And one more thing I wanted to do, fixed, and I'm going to do 5,000. So something. Again, standard view, entire view, your presentation, you can do. And we can add filters again, state, oops, I don't want to put state there. Okay, state, maybe I can put sales as a filter, some range of sales. Okay, I'm going to go with all, and then I'm going to say show filter, and it can, and I applied a filter there. The thing you should see is when we are dropping profit here and sales, it's adding the aggregate function to it. And if you want, even though it doesn't make sense here, you can change it to average, max, min, all those things you can do. Oh, why do we have country here? So that is my second viz. I'm going to call it profit by category. Okay, the next I'm going to make, this is my very favorite charts, which is based on map. So nowadays creating data on a map has become quite popular because of how easy it is to do with Tableau. So profit by state, at least in this data set which we have, we do have latitude, longitude generated by state, city, country, of course, and postal code. So in a data source we already have where it is. Oh, is that generated by, I have to check whether that something is generated by Tableau by default. I don't think it's generated by Tableau. So it looks like I have to check. I think these are, it says generated, so it looks like they were generated by Tableau based on the location dimension, so which is a good thing. So it's providing us that. Okay, so let's now create profit by state. So I'm going to put longitude on columns, latitude on rows, and we got a world map right there. And now I want to show my profit, and my profit data is only of US. So I'm going to put profit on color. And nothing happened, which is surprising. And I'm going to put my state on detail right there. I should have done this step first, sorry. So I put my state. All the states data are being shown. As you can see, we don't have Hawaii here and Alaska. So they are not shown currently because of the data set. And now, so this is just showing us what kind of data we have for which states in our data set. Now I want to show my profit, or you can even show sales, whatever is your question is on. And now based on that scheme, our data is being shown here on the state. So this becomes so easy now to show now your data over various states like that. I'm gonna do a couple of things. Go to map layers, uncheck some of those. We don't need to show Mexico or Canada. State names I don't. If you remove that, like that. So those are the examples. Those are the cleanup. Some of the cleanup you can do. Do you want to make it dark? Keep it light. Keep it normal. So all those you can do. You can exclude that, and then close it. If I put state in a filter, and from here, if I remove California, see, it's not shown on map anymore, or Ohio, so it's gone. So you can change the color schema again. Click on that, edit colors if you want to. This is the kind of map we have right now. Size. We don't have anything on size, so that will not change. So that's our map. A chart, a viz related to a map. So far we got sales by category, profit by category, profit by state, and I'm going to create one last for this set, which would be sales by month. Sales by month. Again, I'm going to put sales in rows like that. I need sales by month. Is there any date? Order date is there. The order date is showing me for 2015, 16, 17, 18. Break it. Quarter, month, day, which is too much. I don't need quarter. So you can see your date for various years. You can even take that out. What's happening right now is it's showing you all the sales for each month for 3 or 4 years combined. So this number is for all the 3 years combined, which doesn't make sense. We want to see January of a particular year. So how do we get that? Click on this ellipsis, and you can show year, quarter, month, or you can show it month, which is a combination of month and the year. And once we do that, you can see now November, May, and so on. So okay, so now we have four sheets for Viz: sales by category, profit by category, profit by state, sales by a month. So now time has come to make our first dashboard. In a dashboard, you can see all the sheets you have. So these are all the sheets I have created so far, which you can put it in the dashboard. So these are the sheets. These are your objects. That's the size, the desktop browser, which is what I have right now. You can see this white. Maybe I can increase it like that because I have a really big screen. Okay, so all the sheets, the layout, default, or if you are designing for a phone, and objects. What are those objects? We'll see them in a minute. So I'm gonna put sales there, sales by month there, profit here, profit by state here. All the filters which you have on each of the sheets, they come here with them. So I got those four. I'm gonna take this, put it on the top. That's my heading. I'm gonna call it Super Store Dashboard for CEO. A very cool Viz. Make it 16 bold, center, this also center. You want to add sheet name or your username, you can do. Okay, make it a little bit on the top like that. Okay. The next thing I'm going to show you here is these are all the filters which came. You can click on those filters like that and see, and there's a concept called floating or fix. So I'm gonna click on floating. Now I can move this filter anywhere I want. This one I don't think I even need it. I'm gonna remove that. This one also, and that's a nice filter. I'm gonna first make it this one and then floating, and maybe put that here as well. There is a lot of you can read a lot of, not, I don't want to say arguments, but a lot of discussion on whether the filters should be floating or next. Some people put multiple floating toolbar filters and stuff, so you can see that there. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say here, and I'm going to say allow it all using this data source or all using selected. That way, for example, right now it works only on that map from where it's coming, but once I do this, now it will be applicable to all of them. And same thing here, apply to all. So now these filters works for all of them right here. So that's our first dashboard we have created. And if you click here, or you can click here. I'm sorry. And that's how it will look like. The other thing you can do is you can select, especially this map one or any or others, and say use as filter. What that does is, now if I select a state, even that way the data in the other sheets gets reflected. So if I select Texas, it's showing me profit by Texas, sales by month for that state, and by category. Or I can use control key and select multiple like that too, which is use this as filter. So that is our first super cool dashboard which we just created. And again, you can move them with that and add some titles, some other things you can do and things. You can also change the padding. So for example, you can add outer paddings, so like that. As you can see, I'm adding paddings around maybe this one, so you can do those things too. So go ahead, try doing that. If you are using the online Tableau, some of the options might not be available right from here, but you will find them under the tool menu, under the menu on the top, if they are not available right away. Like for example, I think let me show it to you. So for example, if I, first of all, when you're doing online, there is always a little lag. It works a little slowly. So as you can see, the options are less here compared to our desktop, where you have many more options compared to that one. But you will be able to find them, all those options which are missing on online Tableau, on the top in the menu. That's it for the first one.